whether you want ladies or queens. Never give up the
Kimchi. Now, is there anything you'd like to say? Eureka.
That's crazy. Confidence is key.
If you don't have top quality, get the f out of here!
That was fighting for gay rights, and people were killed.
Nobody was killed at Stonewall.
Nobody was killed.
The RuPaul's Drag Race experience in Chicago had an exhibit dedicated to the winners of the franchise. Within it, though, there was a TV they had where they were showing a montage of alternative crownings filmed of other finalists. This is actually pretty crazy news, because up until this point, while we have seen footage of alternate crownings, it's always been through direct leaks by fans or editors of the series. This time though, it's World of Wonder themselves that have decided to let some fans be able to see this content that for the most part, everyone thought would be lost media forever. Because why would they ever want to let audiences have access to these? While they didn't directly upload the HD versions, we have to rely on the few fans/queens that were brave enough to record the montage with their phones and post it on social media. For some reason though, the few videos circulating are all cut up at different moments. So I decided to give a full version that takes all the clips of each queen's crowning and groups them up so that we have the most complete version available of each person's crowning footage. But before we start, I want to talk about something that genuinely freaked me out once I realized how bad it actually is. So much of our personal information is just sitting online. All of it gets collected by data brokers and sold without you ever knowing. That information is then used for scams, identity theft, harassment, or stalking. And once it happens, fixing the damage can take months or even years. That's why today's video is sponsored by Incogni. Incogni is a privacy protection service that goes directly to data brokers for you and requests that your personal data be deleted. These companies do not make it easy. There's paperwork, follow-ups, and constant pushback. But Incogni's privacy agents handle the entire process on your behalf. When you sign up, you choose whose data they're removing, give them permission to act for you, and after that, they continuously contact data brokers, demand deletions, and deal with objections so your information gets scrapped off the internet automatically. With data breaches happening constantly, even one unremoved profile can expose your address or phone number. Incogni also offers a custom removal feature in their unlimited and family unlimited plans. If you find your personal info on a specific people search site or a random website, you can point Incogni directly to it and one of their privacy agents will take care of removing it for you. If you want to stop your personal data from being traded and misused, now's the time. Go to incogni.com/GreenGay and use code GreenGay to get 60% off. That is their biggest discount. Seriously, don't put this off and head to incogni.com/GreenGay and use code GreenGay to get your personal data off the market before it's used against you. Now, let's begin. The first one we have to talk about is the gaggiest, which is the season 6 double crowning of Bianca Del Rio and Adore Delano. It's already been a known fact in the fanbase that during the season 6 finale, they didn't just film a crowning for each of the members in the top 3. They also filmed a 4th outcome where a tie was announced and Bianca and Adore shared the title together, which got a lot of backlash when people found out, since Courtney Act was basically confirmed to not go on to win, since it was clear that the title was between Adore and Bianca, to the point that they had to film a possible tie. On top of that, I think the reason that this footage is the most impactful to see is because this stems from the OG era of the series. Some of us, including myself, have tried to visualize what this looked like since 2014, especially since if this had gone on to be the official crowning, it would have resulted in a completely different timeline. I mean, this could have potentially meant Adore Delano's career headed for even more stardom. And that's saying a lot because Adore would go on to find a lot of success anyway. But having a crown would have definitely helped her gone further. Naturally, the question left in many people's heads was that this tie was a really rude thing to do to Courtney Act, who was basically just left standing there as if the crowd in that theater didn't just receive confirmation that clearly she was in fact third place. Naturally, with the leaks that have been made of alternate crownings shown in the Chicago Drag Race experience, most people just assumed that since World of Wonder hates Courtney, that's why they didn't even bother to include her in the alternate crowning compilation. However, I actually found a visual of Courtney's crowning on season 6. What you're seeing here is literally the only millisecond of the whole alternate crowning compilation that features Courtney Act. I can tell it's her because of the dress and wig she's wearing. It's clear that whoever edited this for the Chicago exhibit must have wanted to sneak Courtney's crowning in somehow, and just had this quick bit of her just walking down the stage with the scepter. I find this to be a really good find, and I'm so glad I was able to spot it in the montage. Next up is Eureka being crowned the winner of season 10. I actually really love seeing this footage because it legitimately was a huge possibility that Eureka would end up becoming the first big girl to win the main franchise of the series. Plus, to finally have her bodysuit that said the big girl wins actually be true this time makes me wonder how full circle it would have been to actually see her take the crown. Don't get me wrong, Aquaria clearly was the best representation for this season, both at the time and in the long run, but also, we can't deny that Eureka was pretty close to earning it for herself too. That same finale, Cameron Michaels also got to film her alternate. Now, this was more so production just being nice, because let's be real, there was literally no way that they were ever gonna crown her as the winner of the season. If anything, I always thought that that's why Eureka and Aquaria's lip sync resulted in a double Shantae, because they knew that Cameron was the only other queen in the top two. So to create some suspense, they had both Aquaria and Eureka join her, instead of just one of them, because then it would have been even more obvious who would have taken the crown. That being said, the only other thing I have to say about this footage is that I think Cameron's winning speech might be the most random thing I've ever heard a queen say, with quote, "Confidence is key." Now we have Brooklyn Heights winning season 11. So some of the footage for this had actually been leaked years ago. However, what we got from the Chicago Drag Race exhibit was to be able to actually see Brooke being announced as the winner. To be honest, I could have seen Brooke taking the title for season 11. It really was a close call between her and Evie. But I think what it came down to was the fact that out of these two finalists, Evie truly did bring something that was really needed once again in the winner circle. However, imagine how meaningful it would have been for Brooke to actually be crowned by Rupaul, considering she'd go on to host her own franchise in Canada. It would have just been the perfect cherry on top to essentially her becoming the Queen of the North. Then we have Candy Muse winning season 13. So Angeria Paris Van Michaels was the first person to leak this clip, which I am so thankful for because it's also the clearest clip of the bunch. What's funny is that I think aside from Ginger Minj, Candy Muse has the two alternate crownings she filmed for both season 13 and All Stars 8. Naturally, the possibilities were low that she would actually end up being the official crowning. But it's still interesting to see nonetheless, because if they really wanted to gag us, imagine them just having Simone be the runner-up of this season and losing to Candy Muse.
If you don't have top quality, get the f out of here!
Up next is Lady Camden winning season 14. This is where queens basically start winning the crown in bodysuits instead of super glamorous outfits. I've always felt that they should allow the queens to change back into their finale gowns when it comes to filming their crowning, because they shouldn't have to settle for whatever they picked out for their lip sync. especially when it comes to one of the most important moments in their life. But anyways, Lady Camden winning season 14 was a close call between her and Willow Pill, and I think her reaction here is very genuine. If she ever comes back for All Stars, she's for sure a shoo-in for the finals.
Lady Camden!
Whether you are the lady always comes back on All Stars for me.
Never give up.
Now we have Kim Chi winning season 8. While we did have some of this footage leaked years ago, what we didn't see was Ru announcing Kim by name as the winner. So again, this gives us a more complete look at what it would have been like to have Kim be crowned the queen of season 8, which would have been crazy because anyone that's seen this edition knows that Bob cleared everyone. That being said, while I do know what Kim is referencing with this winning tagline, I do think it falls as one of the more basic things that we've heard a queen say. I don't know, that's no shade, it just felt a bit random.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
Up next is Jules Sparkles winning season 17. This is probably the most recent of the entire list. Jules was a fan favorite to win the crown after she made it to the top 2. So even though Anya Nerve had completely owned the entire competition, Jules had that X factor about her that might have been able to take her over the edge. Ultimately though, I'm glad that at the very least, even if most of these finalists never get to see this footage, that regardless of whether they actually get the title, they're able to experience, at least for a brief couple minutes, what it'd be like to have Rupaul announce them as the winner of their season. Moving on, we also have some footage of Peppermint winning season 9. Again, they decided to focus on some queens more than others, so unfortunately, this is the only short clip that we have of Peppermint. But I'm not complaining. Something is better than nothing. We've now gone through all the new leaks of alternate crownings obtained from the official Drag Race experience in Chicago. So now we're gonna do a quick speed round on the other existing crowning footage that have been leaked through the years. Here we have the double crowning between Ginger Minj and Georges for All Stars 10. This actually hit the internet about 2 days prior to the finale airing, so many people believed that this was gonna be the true outcome of the season. But as we know, they'd end up crowning Ginger Minj alone instead. Then we have Jujubee winning All Stars 5, as well as Miss Cracker winning All Stars 5, both of them as individual wins. Moving on, we have Anitra winning season 15. This one is sort of sad because it's also the last grand finale to be filmed with a live audience. I know a lot of people like to say that the reason they stopped doing these live finales was because people in the audience kept leaking everything. But like, as you've come to notice in this video, everything gets leaked regardless. So I hope that for season 18, we get to see them bring back this elevated style of finale back to the series. And last but not least, we also have Naomi Smalls winning season 8 with the most iconic tagline in history of quote, "It's about time a big girl wins." In terms of alternate crownings, that's pretty much the end of the list. Again, I've always found footage like this to be so intriguing, so it was a big surprise that World of Wonder themselves were fine with having it be displayed at one of their events. That being said, if you could have any of these crownings actually happen, which one would it be? And to add on to that, whose crowning do you hope gets to be released to the public next? My main one was to say the Adore Bianca double crowning, but now that we saw that, I hope that the next one that gets released is Serena Chacha's alternate crowning from season 5. But let me know what you think in the comments, and make sure to give this video a like to help me out in the algorithm. And I hope you guys are all having a happy holiday. Thanks again to Incogni for sponsoring today's video. Head to incogni.com/GreenGay, use code GreenGay, and get your personal data off the market before it's used against you. And you'll be supporting the channel in the process. I want to take a moment to thank my patrons. In the Elite Pink Squad, we have Matthew Burns, Gay Uncle, Sari Tish, Las Potitas, Cool Gal Nan, Jet Sam Adams, and Natasha De Leon. And in the Gay Squad, we have Lone Resident, Christine Gregory. And in the Green Squad, we have Cayman Rider Furry, Edgar Allan Pup, The Only Sean, IJS, Not a Punch But a Keek, Jack Beck, Galeria Gomez, Sarah G, Scarlet Rose, Boiled Peanut, Not an Omelet But an Egg, Max Whale, Dea, Dea, and Niall O'Hearain. If you'd like to see your name on the screen, you can support me on Patreon. The link will be in the description. I'll see you guys next time.